In the blink of an eye, there's been a major vibe shift in this election. Donald Trump's campaign, which was projecting strength, even though there was serious weakness underlying it all, is now in a deep panic mode. I'll show you what's going on in a moment. Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign is projecting strength heading into the weekend. Here's what we're learning. Reporter Charlotte Alter writes, senior Harris campaign staff say their internal data shows Harris winning battleground state voters who have made up their minds in the last week by double-digit margins. They say that Trump's Madison Square Garden rally was the last straw for late-breaking undecided voters. And that was before Donald Trump said words to the effect of putting Liz Cheney before a firing squad at an event with Tucker Carlson. Alter continues. Top Harris brass says their organizing operation has knocked on 13 million doors across the battleground states. In October, they made 100 million calls into battleground states. In Pennsylvania alone, their team is on track to knock on 5 million doors and have 1 million conversations with voters by Election Day. Top campaign staff believe Harris's momentum is because of the work they're putting in, but also because Trump's Madison Square Garden fiasco has broken through to late-breaking undecided voters. That's where Trump campaign referred to Puerto Ricans as trash and made other horrific statements about the Latino community. And then Donald Trump dressed up like a garbage man. And then Donald Trump threatened the life of Liz Cheney. The Madison Square Garden rally has sharpened the contrast and reminded voters what Trump is like. As our friend Matthew Dowd, who actually led the Bush-Cheney 2004 campaign, he was their data guy, so he knows this polling stuff very well. Here's what he says. In 2016 in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, voters who decided in the last week went for Trump overwhelmingly, providing him his margin of victory in each of those states and the electoral win. My sense is the same thing is happening for Vice President Kamala Harris this time. Late deciding voters are breaking for her. He explains in 2000, an old DWI surfaced in the last days and hurt Bush. In 2004, the Osama video surfaced in the last days and helped Bush. In 2012, hurricane hit in the last days and helped Obama. In 2016, Comey letter comes out in the last days and hurt Clinton. Don't let anyone tell you moments in the last days can't move folks. One of the other signs that the Trump campaign is panicking massively. Here's what one of their top advisors, Stephen Miller, is saying. In addition to Donald Trump claiming there's cheating going on here and recycling the same lies from 2020, which reeks of desperation. Here's what Stephen Miller writes. They are importing actual plagues into the country now. For the love of God, vote. And they're accusing Democrats, of importing tuberculosis in America right now to somehow influence the vote or something like that. Let's take a look at the optics in the closing days of this election. Donald Trump dressed as a garbage man. Don Jr. dressed up in garbage. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, if he had not been born into wealth and had to survive on his own talent and abilities, he'd be wheeling that stuff around town in a shopping cart looking for a place to sleep tonight. That's Don Jr. dressed up as garbage. Here is Eric Trump dressed up as trash for Halloween. All of the Maga supporters, to show solidarity with the movement, are dressed up as trash as well and have trash bags over them for some reason. And one of the main Maga surrogates, Anna Paulina Luna, she's doing modeling photo shots for Maxim magazine, and Matt Gaetz is saying, we are so back. Donald Trump's other top surrogate, Amber Rose, is holding events at a strip club, the We F Trump event at the Peppermint Rhino Strip Club in Las Vegas. Also, major breaking news via the Daily Beast. Jeffrey Epstein is alleged to have showed photos of Donald Trump with topless young girls sitting in his lap, according to author Michael Wolff. The pedophile financier had about half a dozen pictures which showed Trump by the pool with multiple young girls. Also, there was that audio recording of Jeffrey Epstein in 2017, where Epstein knew about the ins and outs of the Trump administration and was telling Michael Wolff that. Wolff claims he has 100 hours of Epstein audio recordings talking about specific details in the Trump administration, showing that Epstein was still close to Donald Trump, it is alleged by Michael Wolff and the Daily Beast. Donald Trump then, of course, did that horrific appearance that I referenced earlier in this video in Arizona with Tucker Carlson, where he talked about putting Liz Cheney before a firing squad. Play the clip.
And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Yes, this man seems very unwell. Play the clip.
Just because you see at that bottom, this section right here, that sucker's... Oh! I'm going, come on, baby. Come on.
Donald Trump then said, referring to Vice President Kamala Harris as a sleazebag, and he said, the sleazebag claim that people are leaving my rallies. Nobody's leaving my rallies. Play this clip.
Never been rallies like this. When that sleazebag said during the debate, she said, oh, your rallies aren't well attended and people leave. They don't leave, and they're really well intended. We can't get places big enough. And then I said, no, you know, the rallies are the biggest in history. We never have it, just like this is a part of a rally. We never had an empty seat and nobody leaves early. And you know what? If I saw people leaving, you know what I do? Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna make America great again. Goodbye, everybody, and everybody would be happy. Nobody would leave. But we don't have to do that. Nobody leaves. It's a love fest. It's never happened before. This has never happened before.
Okay, what's better than a clean kitchen? A kitchen that doesn't smell with Lomi, that gross trash smell? It's gone. My kitchen smells fresh all of the time. Lomi lets me turn my food scraps into dirt with the push of a button. It's a countertop electric composter that takes my waste and transforms it into nutrient-rich dirt in less than 4 hours. I run it while I sleep, just like my dishwasher. No more smelly trash bins. And it's so quiet, you barely notice it is running. And since I got my Lomi, guess what? I'm taking out way less garbage. So if you're ready to start making a positive environmental impact and make cleanup a breeze, Lomi is exactly what you need. I want you to do this. Head over to lomi.com/Meidas and use the promo code Meidas to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you go to lomi.com/Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S. Use our promo code Meidas at checkout. Say goodbye food waste and hello to a cleaner, greener kitchen with Lomi. And with the holidays coming up, Lomi makes the perfect gift for someone on your shopping list. So turn your food waste into dirt with the press of a button with Lomi. Use the code Meidas and save $50 at lomi.com/Meidas. This is in addition to Donald Trump dressing up as a garbage man before Halloween. He wasn't doing it as like a Halloween costume. Some of the weirdest optics we've seen. And Donald Trump said the following: I told women I will be their protector. They said, sir, please don't say that. It's inappropriate. Well, I'm going to do it, I said to them, whether the women like it or not. Yeah, you heard him. He said he will be the woman's protector, whether they like him or not. He's going to force himself onto them the same way he's on audio recording, saying that he grabs women by their vaginas because he's rich, and without their consent, he can do whatever the hell he wants because he is a rich person. This is someone found liable for sexual assault. You heard about my reporting about the Epstein stuff. I did a whole longer video on all of Trump's connections with Epstein, and more women have come forward talking about Donald Trump molesting them in the 90s. They've come forward this week. A big story on Apple News, their top story right now, how a Trump campaign gamble backfired. Why North Carolina's suburbs could tip the election, and more of the week's most read election stories. North Carolina suburbs, like the suburbs in many areas, Atlanta, elsewhere, looking at Donald Trump, and they are sickened by his behavior. Lots of people haven't been paying that much attention to the election. They're tuning in now. They see him with his weird orange face, saying horrific things about women, horrific things about Puerto Ricans, talking about sending the military to attack and kill Americans, talking about bloody deportation operations that he wants to lead and rip families apart. You hear Donald Trump saying that RFK Jr. is going to be the leader of the healthcare plan. RFK Jr. doesn't believe in vaccines and thinks that doctors should not be in charge of medicine. You've got Donald Trump doing all of these things. Here, Anna Navarro on CNN said the following: women don't want to be protected by Trump. Stop saying these things. Here, play this clip.
That is quite the closing message to women, whether you like it or not.
Well, if you ask all the women who have accused him of sexual harassment, if you ask the women who have accused him of rape, if you listen to what he said on that Access Hollywood tape, you realize that Donald Trump is a man who has a long history of doing things, whether women like it or not. I find it offensive too. Women don't want to be protected by Trump. They want to be protected from Trump, because no matter how much he tries, he cannot run away from having handpicked those 3 Supreme Court justices that overturned Roe and have meant that women all over this country are having a very hard time getting the reproductive health they need. Some of them have died. Some of them have had to almost die in order to get treatment. Doctors are petrified of treating them. That's not protection. That's threatening our lives.
Whoever on his staff said, sir, don't say that. They might have been right.
I think it's important also, and this is what we do, I think, really well at the MeidasTouch network. We're not a soundbite network, right? We are focused on data. So take a look at data like this. Hard to overstate how fast some of these new suburban areas outside of Atlanta have been growing. Dawson, for example, saw a 20% population increase in just 3 years after 2020. We're seeing massive amounts of voter advantage, potentially for Democrats in Georgia, and we're seeing these massive population movements as well. If you think about the fact that, remember, Donald Trump said, find me 11,000 votes, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot more votes out there that are potentially Democratic votes this time around. Also, in the past 12 hours, here are some polls. These are the top polls out there. The Marist poll is one of the top ones. They have Vice President Kamala Harris up 3 in Michigan, up 2 in Pennsylvania, up 2 in Wisconsin. I think that's an important data point there as well. One of the things that Donald Trump is lying about now as well is that he says, I'm not going to kill Obamacare. Which is the Affordable Care Act. Donald Trump and Maga tried to label it like Obamacare as though that would make it bad. People love the Affordable Care Act. If you're probably on a health care plan that is made possible by the Affordable Care Act and life-saving treatment is available to you because of that. At the debate, Donald Trump said that he has concepts of a plan, but now Donald Trump tries to claim that he likes Obamacare or he's not going to get rid of it, despite the fact that we've showed the audio recording over again. His top surrogate says on day one, Maga Mike Johnson said, this is the Speaker of the House, Maga Republican Speaker of the House. The first thing they're going to do is get rid of healthcare. They have a plan to terminate Obamacare. He says it very clearly. But by the way, just take a look at all of Donald Trump's posts over the years. He says he will repeal Obamacare. He goes, defund and repeal Obamacare, repeal Obamacare, repeal and replace Obamacare, repeal and replace. Obamacare is torturing the American people. The House voting to repeal was the first bipartisan vote on Obamacare. The GOP must continue to repeal and defund Obamacare. There's quite literally hundreds of messages from Donald Trump saying repeal Obamacare, okay? So when he says that, if you're on the fence and you're like, oh, Ben, because, you don't like Trump, you must be some lefty. I'm just showing you the freaking receipts. You can judge it for yourself. Look at it. That's what he says. Also, in addition to, the Liz Cheney situation, Donald Trump floats the idea of executing the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Chairman Mark Milley. Donald Trump said that Milley should be executed. Donald Trump previously posted this image of Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is guilty of treason. Read truth if you want televised military tribunals. Look, you see Donald Trump reposting, read truth if you want televised military tribunals. It should be noted as well that One of the things Donald Trump was trying to do was like court some like celebrities who have decent followings in their own right. And one of them was someone by the name of Sexy Red, and she wore a giant MAGA hat on stage at her concert, and she was kind of convinced to vote for Trump. Well, I think her, like many voters out there, are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that's what you're about? You want to sexually assault women and take away women's reproductive rights? And got it. You're dressed up in a garbage man and you're saying horrific things about Puerto Rico and Latinos. That's your closing message about sending the United States military to attack Americans. And she just said, look, I just voted. Don't tell us what to do with our coochie. She says, Kamala for president. Just also, you take a look at what these MAGAs are doing. Last night, there was the story out of Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, that wasn't pleasant at all. And you just see, the hate in their heart inspired by Donald Trump. So this was how MAGAs were dressing up last night. MAGA parade was held, and they depicted Vice President Kamala Harris as a slave in chains, being wheeled towards execution or something. Again, it's horrible stuff right there. Here's some more data from Dan Hopkins. We see this very clearly in panel data. Harris retained the vast majority of Biden's February and March support and won over about 36% of those who were undecided versus 18% going to Trump. I think the number is actually going to be significantly more than that when all is said and done. Tom Bonnier, our friend who runs Target Smart, he's got all of this data. He says, compared to the partisanship of the early vote universe, this shows that Harris is outperforming by 3 points in Pennsylvania, 4 points in Wisconsin, 23 points in Michigan. So there you have it there. Trump was at this restaurant and he defended his Liz Cheney comments by amping up the incitement even further, saying she kills people. That's why he said it. Play this clip.
Oh, yeah, sure. She's a war hawk. She kills people. She wanted even in my administration, she was pushing to go to war with everybody. And I said, if you ever gave her a rifle to do the fighting, if you ever do that, she wouldn't be doing too well, I will tell you right now. But she's a war hawk. People unnecessarily. And if she had to do it herself and she had to face the consequences of battle, she wouldn't be doing it. So it's easy for her to talk, but she wouldn't be doing it. She's actually a disgrace.
And then here, this is Donald Trump telling you that if he gets into office, millions of Americans will die. He says that he will let RFK Jr. take over healthcare. Play this clip.
I'm sorry, guys. You said last night, President Trump, you said last night you would essentially let Robert F. Kennedy Jr. do whatever he wants with healthcare. What?
He's going to have a big role in healthcare.
HHS, maybe?
We just left. In fact, I think he might be here.
He's right behind.
He's right here.
You're comfortable with his
Will
views
he run
You're comfortable
HHS?
with his views on vaccines, Mr. President?
We'll be talking about a lot of things, but he's going to have a big role in healthcare, very big role.
Is it HHS, maybe?
He knows it better than anybody. He's got some views that I happen to agree with very strongly, and I have for a long time. For years, you and I would agree. We'll be seeing it as a...
What about his views on vaccine and maybe a position at
all
HHS?
All of these things will be talked about.
This meeting is for...
And may I just show you this? This is Vice President Kamala Harris earlier in the day talking about Trump's violent rhetoric. Let's play it.
And then, even worse, he has increased his violent rhetoric, Donald Trump has, about political opponents, and in great detail suggested rifles should be trained on former Representative Liz Cheney. This must be disqualifying. Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent rhetoric is clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president. Representative Cheney is a true patriot who has shown extraordinary courage in putting country above party. Trump is increasingly, however, someone who considers his political opponents the enemy, is permanently out for revenge, and is increasingly unstable and unhinged. His enemies list has grown longer, his rhetoric has grown more extreme, and he is even less focused than before on the needs and the concerns and the challenges facing the American people.
Here she is again talking about The fact that Donald Trump wants to put someone in charge of healthcare who will literally get rid of your healthcare and believes that vaccines aren't real and that doctors are all liars. Here, play this clip.
Pledge to the American people is to pursue common sense solutions, to listen to those, even those who disagree with me, to listen to experts, and to be a president for all Americans. Donald Trump's closing argument is very different. He pits Americans against one another. He spends full time having Americans point their fingers at one another, and he spends a considerable amount of time plotting his revenge on his political opponents. As of last night, just to add more, he has indicated that the person who would be in charge of health care for the American people is someone who has routinely promoted junk science and crazy conspiracy theories, who once expressed support for a national abortion ban, and who is the exact last person in America who should be setting healthcare policy for America's families and children.
And also one other big data point, as well as I'm giving you a lot of data in this video. Elon Musk lost his effort to delay the lawsuit filed against him by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Philadelphia County District Attorney for Elon Musk trying to allegedly Elon Musk buying off votes with this like $1 million lottery scheme to try to register voters. Elon Musk tried to remove it to federal court from state court, so he delayed the proceeding by 24 hours. The federal court rejected it, sent it back to state court. So now it's in state court, which is a big loss for Trump and Musk. And I don't think he's going to prevail in state court. I think we'll find an injunction issued there, shortly, even shortly after this video. So there we have it. Let me know what you think. That's all the data I have right now. Hit subscribe and let's get to 4 million subscribers together. And thank you for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.